In today's video, let's talk about how the real selling point of the Steam Machine is, of course, SteamOS. And after that, Valve revealed their brutal struggle to get RAM, and I don't think anyone really could envision how bad it really is. How's it going? As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. This is Deck Ready, my channel all about Steam hardware, and you saw the timestamp. You know this video is longer than 14 minutes, so that means Ray from Xbox Ready, my business partner, co-owner of Ready Media LLC, is here to talk about Steam Machine with me. How's it going, Ray?
Yes, sir. I'm feeling good. Feeling kind of amped up. Me and Jimmy just finished filming the two-host video for my channel, Xbox Ready, talking about yet another price increase hitting the Series X and S consoles. Absolutely brutal, but you know, you've been dealing with a lot of the same stuff on your side of the channel since
yes,
the price of the Steam Machine has been revealed. So at least we are suffering together.
Yeah, I feel like I'm reliving 2022 when the Steam Deck was coming out, and I had to hear over and over again that it's underpowered and not more than the sum of its parts, and that the only thing that matters is how a game performs on it, blah, blah, blah. Cut to 4 years later, I'm hearing the exact same stuff about the Steam Machine, but I've lived through this, and SteamOS is going to be the thing that really sets it apart and helps it succeed in this insanely garbage, god-awful, terrible, disgusting marketplace where everything is too expensive. So if you didn't see, Valve uploaded a video just like they did with the Steam controller, where Gabe, with his new tattoos and painted nails, unboxes the Steam Machine. It's an unboxing video. I've seen people like, oh my god, they uploaded an unboxing video. Let's pick it apart for details. There's not a lot to pick apart. They did talk about how the puck is built into the Steam Machine, which apparently a lot of people didn't know. They weren't watching Deck Ready because I talked about it a lot. But something that really just opened my mind and made me go, oh, this is going to be awesome, as someone who also uses consoles, is if there's a feature for the Steam Machine that you want, someone's going to make it, and it's going to either be A, easily installable, or B, get added to an official SteamOS update, just like we saw with the Steam Deck. The one thing that really stuck out to me is the LED light bar. So it's customizable, which is really cool. I don't know if you've seen this, Ray, but there's a light bar underneath the faceplate and the power button tray. So you can customize it to show whatever you want. And I've already seen people thinking through how they're going to come up with custom solutions for this. But the simplest use case for it that absolutely blew my mind is that you can watch download progress for all of your games and updates. Because as we all know, as soon as you turn on your console, your PC, it doesn't matter. The first thing it does is absolutely load your back up with fucking game updates that are multiple gigabytes. And then you've got to reorder them to make sure the stuff downloads first. But I watch your channel, and you know, Xbox just did an update where they allow you to change your gamer tag to 15 characters. But the problem with those updates, when they bring along cool features even, is that you've got to wait for Microsoft or Sony or Nintendo to kind of get their act together and add in these features. Whereas Valve, the second they think of a new feature for SteamOS, they turn that shit around overnight. Like, it happened all the time with the Steam Deck, where someone like me or my buddy Rich at Fan the Deck, we would talk about a feature that we wanted on the Steam Deck. It would literally be in the update the following day. And I think that's pretty cool. So as a mainly console user, how are you receiving this information that the Steam Machine's LED light bar is going to be wide open and available to customize?
I mean, that's crazy. I mean, that's the level of customization that a lot of people crave on the console side. And when you speak about the speed at which these updates go live, I mean, it's a night and day difference. There is a lengthy testing period for updates, at least on the Xbox side. I mean, at first, like, they're testing it, and then they roll it out to the insiders, and then, you know, different levels of insiders test the features, and then it finally is live. And usually once it goes live, that's great. People really like that. People love personalization when it comes to their console and their gaming experience. I'm a simple guy. I see lights and it's cool. Like, I have bought into this trend that everyone has hopped on this bandwagon of RGB lighting. You can see the ones in the background. Like, I love like customizing my lights depending on my mood.
Yeah, I always get bummed out when people shit on RGB setups because I think the colored lights are cool. Like, you know, I'm into 80s stuff, Halloween, horror. Those things kind of go hand in hand. So when I see it, I'm like, ooh, this looks cool. I've never been an LED hater, so I just have to keep it in the basement, right? Because I live with my wife. She does not want any of that shit on the first or second floor. More power to her. The basement is mine. It's my office. But another cool thing they showed off back when they announced the Steam Machine is an e-ink display that works as a faceplate, and they had it showing performance metrics, and that's cool. JSOX, however you say it, they're already working on that. Yeah. But you know what my mind immediately went to for something they could potentially make is remember the flip up screens for like the PS1 and the GameCube back in the day where you could like latch it onto the console and then turn it into a sort of portable? How cool would it be if you could just have a screen on the front of your Steam Machine? Like, it wouldn't be high resolution, it'd be square, but if you could put a CRT filter on it, like, there's so much you could do with something like that.
I mean, yeah, someone somewhere has got to be working on something like that. I mean, we've seen it as recently as with there was a big one. It's called the X screen for the Series S. Same sort of concept, but it's not portable because you have to have the whole setup plugged in, obviously, but it shares the same power source. So someone somewhere has got to be working on that. If not those Australian guys at X screen, someone else, because that is just easy money, especially with the comp. The only thing I would say that would throw that off is the size of the screen. Right? Like if you make it in line with the cube, like you're just going to get like a little square. The aspect ratio is going to be off. So like, I don't know how that's going to work, but that would be cool.
But imagine like Wallpaper Engine or like having your Steam friends list just up and available, or Discord. You could have that on the lower screen.
Like a second monitor. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
Are we allowed
for
to
just
talk
critical
about, Are we allowed to talk about Wallpaper Engine? Because I was thinking, I was late to the game, but I was reading that it installed like a bunch of malware on your computer if you weren't careful.
Yeah, I saw that. Apparently there's like weird ones that people are downloading, but you know, the ones that have the most downloads, just stick to those.
Yeah.
But you could have Spotify, you could have Apple Music, you could have YouTube playing. Like, I see how people are using the AYN Thor where they're running like Pokemon Champions on the top screen and then the World Cup on the bottom screen. You could create like a DS style setup for your Steam Machine if they figure out how to make a screen for the front of it. I know everyone's excited about the e-ink display. I am too. I just like, I went with it, right? I was like, it'd be so sick if you could have a smaller screen. And I'm addicted to these Instagram reels that are like nostalgic for retro tech. I like that Viva La Bam era sort of look people have discovered where everything's gray and lit by candles. It would be really cool to have a CRT filter for retro games or something like that on the Steam Machine. But I just think people are going to go absolutely nuts with this thing because there's so much potential for what you can do. And that's the benefit of PC being open and SteamOS being so awesome.
Once this hubbub dies about the price, and it will die because it dies every single time. We saw it with the PS5 Pro. We've seen it with the Switch 2. The hubbub will die, and once that happens and people really start going crazy with, you know, showing off their custom plates and what they're doing with the light bar and all the different things that you'll be able to do with the Steam Machine, since it's not a console, it is a PC just running SteamOS. I can't wait for that time because that's what I want to focus on.
Yeah, the D-Brand Companion Cube, which, like, I'm a huge Portal fan, just going to say it up front. I'm not putting the Steam Machine in that thing. It's sold out, like, within a couple of days. So that's probably a good sign for the Steam Machine selling out. But there's not that many Steam Machines, so, like, I don't think it's a huge metric if it sells out. It would be a crazy news story if it is widely available, because then you know no one's buying it. But speaking of things that suck ass, let's talk about Valve's brutal RAM fight, because they've done a few interviews regarding the Steam Machine, and they laid out the situation with buying RAM in an interview, and it is crazy. So apparently, if you want to source RAM and you're Valve, you call up, I don't know, Samsung, right? And you say, hey, Samsung, we'd like to buy some RAM. They say, we'll get back to you. So you put the phone down, you look at your watch, then you get a phone call from Samsung. They say, okay, we've got 500 units ready to go. Here's the price. It's way more than you want to pay. So like in the past, you'd be able to say, well, what if you took about like 20% off and doubled the order? You'd negotiate a little bit. But now, because if you don't buy that RAM, they've got 500 companies, including Apple, Microsoft, Sony, and everyone else, and all the consumers in line, they just hang up on you. And then they never talk to you again. So not only do you have to wait to be able to buy the RAM, if you don't buy it for the jacked up price, you're out of the list forever. So they kind of strong arm you like a cartel into overpaying for this product that you absolutely need to be able to build Steam machines. And I figured something like that was going on, right? Like, they can say, it's just the way it is, all they want, but they're rubbing their hands together. They're excited for their stock prices to go up. They're excited that they're selling so much RAM. Any situation they can get into where they can kind of keep it nebulous and not just seem like the bad guy up front, they're going to lean right into. But seeing it laid out like this, it does kind of make me sympathize with Valve in the situation they're in, because, I want this thing to be cheaper, but it seems like they really are trying their best to get RAM at a better price. And it seems like the way they learned this was by it happening to them, which kind of blows.
That was crazy reading through that, man. Like, especially the stuff about if you don't want to buy, you're off the list forever. I never talk to you again. Like, these guys really have the tech industry by the balls in a vice grip, because like you said, they need these parts in order to make their products. And if that lifeline is cut off from them, what are they going to do? They just have to play ball. And especially with the Valve and the Steam machine, they were kind of looked at as the golden boys that could do no wrong. And while people are upset, I feel like they're still willing to give them a pass, because they have, they came out with that statement talking about why they didn't subsidize their consoles and why they're not willing to sell at a loss. They've been doing a good job of communicating with their customers and being transparent. And because there is a bigger boogeyman in this, yes, no one wants to pay $1,000 for the Steam machine. They would rather pay $700 to $800. They've established, everyone understands there's a bigger threat at large here that is affecting everyone, every platform. So that's the only thing that you can really say. Like, yes, it sucks, but I understand, which still isn't great, but it is what it is.
And the interesting thing is, it's not just Valve who's selling quote unquote underpowered hardware. I'm including the PS5 and Series X in that conversation as well, for more than they probably should be selling them for right now because of this RAM crisis and everything. But the fact that people are going to be hanging on to what they've already got, plus buying a machine that's on par with what other people already have, that means developers, whether they like it or not, are going to have to support what people already have, instead of saying, what's the best possible CPU and GPU combo you can buy, regardless of price. That's our target. We want someone who spent $5,000 to $6,000 to have the most excellent top tier experience, and everyone else, we're going to include a job application with the game so they can get their bread up and go out and build a better PC. That's how things kind of seemed like they were working up until this year. And now there's a lot of games coming out that are optimized extremely well. I mean, the vast majority of AAA games I've played this year on day one have run phenomenally. Pragmata, Resident Evil 9, Monster Hunter Stories 3. Those are all Capcom games. But you've got 007 First Light. You've got Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight. I played a lot of games this year. And even though Forza Horizon 6 is brutally fucked up on Linux for some reason, even though I sent them a narrated video showing the exact issue running on 3 separate devices, and they said they were working on it, still no patches materialized.
Yes, that is one of the very few silver linings of this entire situation. The value of existing Gen 9 consoles and consoles that have already been made pre-AI craziness, Sam Altman bending us over. There is now a fire under the studio's asses to be like, we got to make sure that we support these things, these existing devices, for as long as humanly possible.
So yeah, I know there's not a lot of upsides, but that is definitely an upside. I am still just watching my email through the screen over there. I've got my camera here, my light here, my chair there, and then my laptop is just peeking out. I'm watching my email to see if I get to order a Steam machine or if I'm going to have to sell a kidney to buy one used. I'm not going to do that. I'm not paying scalper prices. That was a joke. Just do me a favor, guys. Cross your fingers for me. Hopefully I'm able to buy one so I can get some videos out. If not, you guys waited for my Steam controller video and I greatly appreciate it. So keep that energy for me with the Steam machine. But that's all I've got in today's video. As always, my name is Jimmy Champagne. Ray's camera died, so he was Ray. Go check him out on Xbox Ready. Check him out at Ready Ray on Instagram. I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching and shape on.